You're very welcome to this webinar on how to improve your chances of winning a BIRD grant. My name is Omer Carmel. I'm Director of Business Development at the BIRD Foundation. And together with Andrea Iona, Director of Business Development East Coast and Midwest, we will provide our recommendation addressing this goal. This is an opportunity to thank Orly Hillary Ariel from Serenus.AI and Guy Achin for the willingness to participate in this webinar. Orly is the CEO and co-founder of Serenus.AI, and Guy is the chairman and co-founder of Xerient Pharma. They are both BIRD grantees and will share their experience with you about the process, and they will be able to answer your questions. So this is the agenda of this meeting. We'll start with general overview about BIRD, the application process, and provide some tips regarding the topic of this webinar. Then we'll dive into a discussion with Orly and Guy and learn from their experience. And the last part will be a Q&A session. We encourage you to use the chat box to raise your questions, and we will collect and address them in this last part of the meeting. So, I believe most of you are familiar already with BIRD, but anyhow, I'll say a few words about the fund. It's an acronym. The name BIRD is an acronym for Binational Industrial Research and Development. It's a US and Israeli joint fund that promotes and supports joint R&D projects between Israeli and US based partners with mutual benefit to both sides. Now, what we do is, if needed, we can assist you in finding strategic partner for such collaborations. We offer conditional grants for joint development on a risk-sharing basis. What does this mean? What does it mean? It means that the grant funds up to 50% of each company's R&D expenses, which are associated with this joint project, and up to a total sum of $1.5 million. And we do claim repayments as royalties only if commercial revenues are generated from this joint project. The repayments are at a 5% rate. So, yeah, in this table you can see the application process, and this relates to what is called the general program. This is actually the legacy program of BIRD, and the biggest one. We have 2 cycles of submission per year, every year. And each cycle lasts for about 3 months. It always starts with the submission of the executive summary, which is reviewed by the BIRD team, and the partners approved to continue the process are allowed to submit the full proposal. Now, there are professional evaluators from both the Israeli side and the US side that evaluate the proposals, and this is done based on some predefined criteria, which I'll elaborate on later on. Now, the evaluators' feedback is presented and discussed in the Board of Governors meeting, where the decisions are taken. And to be practical, I should mention that the nearest cycle will start on March the 1st, 2023. So it's about a month from now. So if you need some more information about this, you can approach us later on after this meeting. Now, I mentioned the Israeli and the US evaluators. It's important to notice that they are not following the same evaluation process. The Israeli evaluator will read the proposal and arrange a usually virtual meeting with the partners, where they can actually raise questions and have a discussion with the partners about the project. This is also the opportunity to meet the partners. On the other hand, the US evaluator, they are just reading the written proposal, that's it. And they are not communicating with the partner whatsoever. They, I can say, hardly communicate with us. So this actually emphasizes the importance of the written proposal. And this is something which you should consider when you actually construct this proposal. Yeah, the proposal should be, in order to have a perfect proposal, it should be comprehensive and compelling. Essentially, what you do is trying to convince the evaluators that, first of all, you know what you're doing and that the project has good chances to succeed. Remember, the US evaluators will rely his opinion only on the only on what's written in the proposal. So don't spare any details in this proposal. And remember that if there will be some missing information, this could definitely compromise your chances to succeed here. In order to make the proposal compelling, we encourage you to provide some pieces of evidence that will show that the technology is working. This could be validation testing, this could be proof of concept that you've done before the submission. And if you have, you better provide also some preliminary evidence on of positive market feedback. This could be a letter of intent, for example, from potential customers, some positive feedback from, let's say, key opinion leader and the like. Now, there are always some assumptions you'll have to use, so make sure that you're using some realistic assumptions. This refers to the timeline of the project, the budget, and the forecast. Don't be over-optimistic. Remember that the evaluators are very professional, and if the assumption would not be realistic, they can definitely scrutinize your assumptions. There are always risks associated with an R&D project. So don't ignore these risks. Show that you are aware of them, and put in place some reasonable and convincing mitigation plan. And the last comment regarding the written proposal is the language and the wording that you are using. These also count. So if needed, maybe you don't have any previous experience in sending or applying for grants, so maybe you don't have enough time. Definitely consider getting some external help for this task. So regarding the evaluation criteria the evaluators are using, essentially there are 4 of them. The first one is the innovation and technology. The evaluators are looking here for some competitive technology edge. So provide a detailed description of your technology and emphasize its advantages over alternative solution. The second one is the synergy between the partners. The evaluators here are looking for some the synergy that actually creates the value of this collaboration. So emphasize the complementary capabilities that the partners have. And this could be synergy related to the technology, but also the marketing capabilities of the partners. Now, regarding the market opportunity, this is the third criterion. The evaluators here are looking for essentially your value proposition, or in other words, why your solution is better than the alternatives you can find in the market. And the last but not least is the commercialization plan or go-to-market strategy. Here, the evaluators are looking for evidence that this project will be commercially successful. And in that respect, it is important that at least one of the partners will have some experience in sales and marketing in the market segment you are addressing. So I've mentioned the meeting with the Israeli evaluators. Few tips about this stage. Make sure that in this meeting, both partners participating, okay? This definitely will emphasize the partner's commitment to the project. Make sure also to involve some key personnel of both teams. This will show that the team is, first of all, cohesive and also professional. Now, we recommend preparing some short presentation up to, let's say, about 10 minutes. And the deck you are presenting should follow pretty much and summarize the proposal sections. And after this presentation, leave some the rest of the time for questions and discussions with the evaluator. Now, we assign for each project a dedicated person who accompanies the partners throughout the whole submission process, and even after that, even beyond the submission. The name we use for this person is PBC. This is an acronym for Primary Bird Contact. And this person is actually your consultant in a way throughout the whole process, and will provide you feedback in order to maximize your chances of winning the grant. So keep this person in the loop throughout the whole process. This includes both the matchmaking process when you choose your potential partner. This includes the executive summary and proposal submission. We always advise the participant to send us in advance some draft of these documents, so we can advise you and provide you with some feedback ahead of the deadline, so you can improve these documents. But remember that we'll assist you only if you'll keep us informed and share with us all this information. Now, a good partner is one of the most crucial ingredients of a successful BERT project, for sure. And the first question you should ask yourself when choosing this partner is whether you would collaborate with these partners regardless of the BERT grant. And if the answer is yes, so this is a good sign. But remember that there are two sides here. Your partner should also give the same answer to the same question. So if both partners are having the same answer for this question, so this is an excellent sign. Now, this is actually a strategic decision for the companies, especially in most cases for the Israeli companies, especially if they are young companies, startups. So you should target a partner that you would like to collaborate with even after the project is completed. In many cases for the US partner, this collaboration is an opportunity to integrate some unique Israeli technology. And for the Israeli partner, this collaboration is an opportunity to enter the US market. So definitely a strategic decision that could influence both companies. Now make sure that at least one of the partners have previous market presence and previous experience in sales and marketing. Now with regard technologies, make sure also that the partners' technology are complementary and not competitive. And remember that mutual benefit of both partners will guarantee also the mutual commitment to the project success. I'll give you a few examples of suboptimal partners because the type of partnership here is really important. So the first example is subcontractors or some service providers. Why they are suboptimal? Because they are not gaining any benefit from their activities following the project completion, okay? A partner who is only a distributor. So as a matter of fact, collaborating with the company that knows how to sell your product is essential, but they need to have also some contribution to the R&D phase and the R&D effort. This could be validation of your product, this could be integration of your product into their system and so forth. So it's not only sales and marketing activity of your partner. When you have missing or maybe some suboptimal synergy, this is also could be a problem. And the most common example is two startup companies with great technology, but with zero market experience. Now, typically, there are three major types of collaborations. Of course, there are also some variation to this and different kind of combinations, but typically, I think we can identify three main types. The first one is system integration projects. In such projects, the technology of one partner is integrated into the platform of the other partner. And the result is an improved platform with better performance. This could be smarter decision, better capabilities, faster processes, and so forth. And I believe that the project that Oli will describe later on belongs to this type of collaboration. Another type of collaboration is what I call the pilot project. In such projects, the technology of one partner is validated in real-life environment, and the partner is actually takes responsibility to manage this activity. Preferably, this type of piloting is some necessary step before commercialization. Example could be if you are a medical device company, this could be clinical trial. This could be validation of some technology in real-life environment, scaling up a process in real-time environment, and so forth. And the last but not least is taking two technologies and put them together in order to have some new result, new product or new service. Example could be a drug consisting of some complementary ingredients that you put together in order to increase efficacy of the result combination. This could be also some software solution that is complementary to hardware technology, specific hardware technology. And in a way, I believe also that the project of Xerient Pharma belongs to this type of collaboration. And I'm sure Guy will tell you more about it later on. So I'll actually stop here and ask Andrea to moderate the discussion with Oli and Guy. And as I mentioned already, we invite you to use the chat box in order to raise questions. You can also raise questions to Orly and Guy. We'll collect them and address them following the discussion with Orly and Guy. So
Thank you.
please.
Thank you, Omer. And thank you for emphasizing these points. I think it's the first time that we've done a webinar like this and have emphasized what makes a project successful. So we are fortunate to have two very impressive BIRD awardees with us. For both of you, if you could just tell us a little bit about your company, your US partner, since you're both Israeli companies, a little bit about what your project's about, and when you got started or where you're at in your project. So let's start with Orly from Serenus.AI. Orly.
Hi, thank you, BIRD team, for having me. It's a pleasure, and hi, everybody. I'll be happy to assist here, and I'll be happy to answer any question you may have after this panel. So my name is Hilary Orly. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Serenus.AI. We are a startup in the digital health insurtech space. We are an Israeli startup. On our team are top physicians and machine learning specialists working side by side on our solution. And we developed a patented AI-based platform to improve medical treatment decisions. When a patient is facing a medical procedure or treatment, our system integrates the patient anonymous profile with all the latest research and guidelines and experts' knowledge, integrated the anonymous patient profile with all this information and more, and then outputs a detailed report whether there is indication for the procedure or the treatment, the factors for making the decision, and the alternative pathway. So our project with our US partner within the BIRD program is super important for us. Why? Because the US market is our main target market. It is the largest market in the AI space. And for us, it was a natural partnership in order to expedite our penetration into the American market. So if you are considering US as your main target market, I think this is a super grant for you. It also helps attract partners in the US that are relevant for your business. So first of all, I would define your target market. For us, it was the US market. Then I would look for who is your ideal partner? What is your business case? Before even thinking about the BIRD grant, not thinking what is ideal for the BIRD grant, but rather what is the ideal for your business. So for us, we could implement our technology in various business verticals, but we made a market research and we saw what is the low-hanging fruit for us in the American market. And we saw that there is a challenge in the American market of medical authorizations where it's not efficient, it's a hassle for all stakeholders. And we saw that our technology can improve this process dramatically. So we tracked a partner. The way that we track this partner is in a relevant show. We didn't go to all shows. We went only to the shows that we really looked in, because, you know, budget is always an issue. So we looked to shows that will probably have potential partners in them. Very specifically for the process that we are targeting. So for us, the show was AHIP, which is a large show in the medical field for health insurance companies. And there we met our partner, Health Trio. And it was not connected actually to the BIRD grant. We had discussion with them before we applied for the BIRD grant. We discussed partnership. This is why I see that they were ideal for this grant, because anyway, we would made some kind of partnership with them. So what we're targeting in the US together with Health Trio is to streamline medical authorizations. So when a patient is facing a medical procedure and requiring authorization from its health insurance to fund the procedure, the medical procedure, we want to streamline this product to make it user-friendly for everybody. So once the physician authorizes the procedure for the patient and our technology authorizes the procedure, automatically we can authorize the procedure in order to prevent any delay of care, which is a challenge in the US. A lot of times there is delay of care. And if it's not indicated, then we provide alternative pathway instead of just denying the service. So it's a win-win for everybody, the patient, the providers, and the payers. In case of Health Trio, what they do is they connect between health systems and health insurance companies to streamline medical authorizations. And in this project, we bring the component of autonomous medical review. Instead of using forms or a static checklist, we bring a component of technology into their platform to improve this process dramatically, actually revolutionize this process, to make it personalized, to automate it, to make it much more, I would say, efficient in all sense, reducing clinical and administrative costs. So this is in general, and of course, if you'll have any questions after the panels, please feel free to contact me.
Thank you, Orly. I know your project also started in 2020, just as the pandemic was really getting started. So I'm sure that was a big challenge as well. So next, we're going to go to Guy. In their case, their project is fresh off being approved. So I think that that's also a really interesting perspective for a company just recently approved for BIRD. Congratulations. Guy, can you tell us about your companies and your project, please? You're on mute.
Not anymore, I hope. Well, thank you for having me, and really thank you for all the support and guidance during the process. In short, our company develops a radioprotective agent that is to be used prior to radiation of cancer patients. The drug itself is called amifostine. It has been in use for about 40 years, and the concept is pretty simple. It was being injected, or is being injected to patients prior to radiation. The drug is a prodrug, actually, that is being activated by healthy cells, providing the healthy cells protection from radiation effect. And then radiation, when applied, is hurting or treating the cancerous cells only. That drug has been a hit about 40 years ago, and with time, the popularity of it went downhill, mainly because it was given by injection, and in order to be effective when treating the organ of desire, the amounts of drug that were required were so high that it caused a lot of side effects. And also many other drugs became available over the years. So the drug is now in use for a very small segment of the cancer-related treatment. What we have is a technology that was originally developed in 3 institutions, primarily Stanford University and Rice University, that enables the oral delivery of that drug. And we actually licensed it from those 3 institutions and further developed the ability to deliver the drug in an oral formulation. And why is it important? It's important primarily for abdominal cancers, and more particularly for pancreatic cancer as the initial indication that we are targeting. In pancreatic cancer, radiation is practically not an available solution, because effective radiation requires radiation dose that will basically demolish the GI tract that is very close to the pancreas. And therefore, radiation is not being used effectively in pancreatic cancer patients. And as you probably know, or most of you know, pancreatic cancer is by far the deadliest cancer of them all. The concept of delivering the drug in an oral formulation and actually enabling you to survive the acidity of the stomach and release the content of the tablet in the upper part of the GI tract, that concept enables the protection of the upper part of the GI tract, which is the part that is being demolished when strong radiation is being applied to the pancreas, and by that enabling higher dose of radiation to pancreatic cancer patients, and hopefully improving the survival rate of those patients. The concept in general has been demonstrated in small animals, in large animals, and similar concepts have been demonstrated in humans as well. We are currently entering human studies. We expect to enter human studies late Q1 2023. And clearly we cannot really treat the patients without the radiation therapy equipment. And that is where the partner comes along. So that radiotherapy equipment market is a very large market of about $3 to $4 billion annually. Very expensive machines, can range from $2 to $10 million each. And we have started talks with the third largest manufacturer in the world, which is called Xerient. It's a Wisconsin-based company. Their annual sales are roughly $500 million. And they are considered to be the Rolls-Royce of that industry, because their accuracy is second to none. Very high-end machines. And they really like the concept of working with us, and that has started far before we even thought about the foundation grant, because it is potentially another enhancement of their unique capabilities versus the competitors. So on one hand, they can, if successful, open the door to treatment of abdominal cancers and pancreatic cancer that is currently not being used or being treated with radiation almost at all. And you can also use that new concept of using a radioprotector drug that is, again, a fairly new concept. So we started talking to them about maybe 15 months ago. We were lucky to engage their chief medical officer as the champion of that effort. So he was extremely helpful in pushing the story internally within the company. And at a certain point, we thought that BIRD can be a perfect grant for that collaboration, primarily because it really shows a true need, two different technologies that have to be combined in order to come up with a premium product. And we thought, as a small Israeli company, that it could actually accelerate their decision process in terms of collaborating with us, because even if it's a large company, investing money is always an issue. And the BIRD Foundation's grant, although it is a large grant, is not going to cover the entire cost. I mean, they have to commit much more money than that. So we thought it's a good start, and they like the concept. And as Andrea mentioned, we are fresh after the approval. It's very exciting for us. And the project in general is testing our drug with their machinery. And that's what we plan on doing in the next 18 to 24 months.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Guy. So I want to ask both of you one question. Just answer it briefly, because as I can see, we have some really good Q&A. So I'd definitely like to make sure we get to most of these questions. But if you could each just give some comments on your key takeaways and what recommendations you would offer to companies, especially, let's say, smaller companies, companies like yours that are looking to find a partner or engage in this process. Maybe, Orly, can you start?
Sure. I think the most important is choose the partner that will help you expedite your business in the US. I already said this, but I think this is super important. So choose the partner that any way you would have done business with them. When you write your application, I think it is super important that you're hands-on on it. Meaning that even if you're getting assistant and even if someone else is writing instead of you, be hands-on, understand what is your, how each stakeholder is contributing to the R&D efforts, because it is an R&D project. So what is the part of each of the sides in the, in our case, in the mutual platform? I think it's very important, and one of the things that contributed to us with the BIRD application is to set expectations from each side, how each side contributes to the project, what is the marketing and sales targets in the project, what is the business model, what is the pricing. These things are important for your business. So I think the application is super important in order to set up your business or expedite your business in the US. And I want to say that the BIRD team, in our case, Omar, were super helpful, telling us on what to focus on. So listen to them. I think they have really, really good tips. For me, it really helped me focus on the important things and make our application more clear. Because remember that the judges of the grant, they don't meet you. They don't meet you like with the Innovation Authority grants. So it's really important that you will be clear in the application, and sometimes it's a challenge. So I think clearance is also a very important tip.
Thank you, Orly. And just to clarify, the Innovation Authority does meet the judges on the Israeli side, or the evaluators on the Israeli side do meet you, but the evaluators on the US side do not. So it's an important distinction, and but your point is certainly right on. Guy, can you give us some of your key takeaways from your submission experience?
So, well, Orly and Norma before covered most of it, but I think, again, if we are dealing with a US company that is the larger one, we have to remember that things are quite dynamic in those organizations. So having a champion who leads the effort from the US side is not necessarily always enough. Things change. Even in our case, only we don't even know it yet, but I mean, there were personal changes. And I think a key for a successful collaboration is making sure that not only one person in the other side is engaged. Engage that person, make sure that you meet other collaborators from the company who eventually may become key to the project itself. Again, it's something that we are experiencing now because we just got the approval. We have to negotiate a contract with the company. So we deal with legal, we deal with the chief commercial officer now. I mean, there are many new partners that are being thrown into the mix. And if only one person is really liking the concept, it may halt or face challenges. So for us, it was very important to have several people in the organization who really liked the concept, and we worked with them closely, and that actually ensures not only the completion of the legal work with the bird related documents, but also later on, I'm sure it's going to help with the work plan.
Thank you. That's a very good point. Having a champion, and I would have to say, the larger the company, the more important the champion/champion. So thank you for that. I'm going to go back to Orly for a second. Now in your case, this was not your first submission. In fact, you had submitted before and your project was not approved. And everyone would probably think that, that would be the end. But in fact, with Bird, we will typically recommend, if we think that the project has potential, and maybe there were some other issues, either with the proposal or something about the collaboration, and we'll recommend that that the project and the companies resubmit. And that was your case. So can you tell us a little bit about what was different the second time, and maybe what you learned from the second submission and getting approved the second time, and how that perhaps benefited your project?
Sure. So first I will say, always have hope, right? We entrepreneurs are used to getting no's, but always hope for yeses. So also in Bird Grant, always have hope. Second, I would say, I think the difference in the second submission is that I really listened to Omer tips about the application, which were general, but they really helped to focus more on the important things. I think the second submission had me more involved in clearing the messages, explaining what is the go-to-market very clear, what is the technology. Again, the American side is not meeting you, the American judges are not meeting you, so it's really important to be clear. So I definitely think the reality was that in the second submission, I was much more hands-on. So even if you're taking a professional assistance, always be hands-on as well on the application, and don't be afraid to change even your professional text in order to clarify your message. Yeah.
Thank you. And I would just add to that from other projects that I've seen that were approved the second time. I would say that probably in almost every case, the project ends up being a better one. Because again, we're able to provide you with the feedback, and you're able to improve on it. And so never back away from trying again if we make that recommendation for you. So now I'd like, Omer, did you want to add something to that?
No, listen, we have a flood of questions,
yes.
And I hope we'll have enough time to actually address them all. I don't know, I'm not sure about it, but I think we should actually
we'll get started. Okay.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we will answer all of these questions, either post them or get back to you individually or as a group. So I'm going to start and address these questions
maybe before that, because I actually, we received actually questions before the webinar began. When you registered, you could actually raise some questions. So at least 2 questions arrived. So first come first. So let's.
Okay.
So the first question was, how do I find a partner for hardware development in the US? So this question actually shows that I believe that now after the webinar was presented, that this question should be rephrased in a way. because you need to understand, one who actually raised the question, that we are talking not about, I mean, your question is a kind of, how can I find a subcontractor for hardware development? And it's specifically, you know, the issue I was trying to address, explaining that definitely, you know, your partner could be a hardware developer, but you should think of also the other aspect of this partnership. For example, whether this company has some additional benefits like presence in the market. But I'll say, generally speaking, you know, finding the right partner, this is definitely a process where we could contribute. And we have a very structured process for selecting a partner which will be suitable for Baird and for you. I'll say briefly, I mean, it starts with some discussion with the partner, understanding his needs, and then construct a value proposition that is addressing the type of partner you would like to actually work with. So it's a process. I mean, if you want us, we can definitely assist you in that. But it's not, you know, one sentence answer. It's a process, and you should consider it like, you know, a strategic decision, and not like who is the best hardware developer in the US in a specific area. So now another question, the second question that arrived before the webinar began. So this is a specific question regarding some application dealing with wildfire fighting tool. So it's definitely an interesting topic. We could actually associate such project in the general program, which is actually agnostic to any type of subject you have in mind, as long as, you know, the criteria we have mentioned are met. In that respect, I also, this is an opportunity to mention that we have also some other dedicated program, and specifically to your question, dealing with Homeland Security topics. And wildfire fighting is definitely one of the topics that could be relevant to the Homeland Security program. So, these were the questions that I want to address before we begin the questions that arrived during the webinar. So can you take the several of the first questions we have here, Andrea?
Sure. And I just want to add two things. The next date for executive summaries, which is the first phase of the process, is March 1st. So if you're thinking about applying, get in touch with us as soon as possible for that one, so we can start discussions with you. Second, we just announced and put up our call for proposals for Byrd Homeland Security, and that executive summary deadline is April 24th. So also coming up, so don't hesitate to get in touch with us so we can start helping. So I'm going to start with the first question, and I'm going to ask Omer to answer it. I think this is relating to pharma projects. He or she is asking to discuss partnerships between Israeli pharma and digital health and a U.S. clinic or medical facility for advancing or doing trials or testing. So Omer, can you address this, and specifically the pharma model?
Yeah. So first of all, I think the straight short answer is yes. I mean, this is something we can accept as a potential project, but you have to keep in mind that, you know, this clinical trial should be with significance, meaning that it should lead to some kind of, let's say, FDA clearance or some stage before your commercialization. And we have such example in the medical field, the medical device field, and also in the diagnostic field. Now, with regard to what Andrea mentioned as Pharma, we do accept also projects in the pharma and biotech fields. And what distinguishes this type of project is the fact that by the end of the project, usually, the outcome of the project is not yet ready for commercialization because of the long time that it takes, to develop a drug or some biotech-related product. So in such cases, as I mentioned in the webinar, the standard model that we offer to the company, to the partners, are the repayment model based on the sales generated from the outcome of this project. Now, with Pharma model, because it's a project where you have a long time to commercialization, so to say, we don't, and sometimes it can take 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 years until commercialization. So we define together with the company's milestones, which are actually trigger for repayments. And in most cases, these milestones have also some fiscal significance. For example, if you receive some licensing agreement with a third party, definitely this will elevate, your company's valuation and will trigger some inflow of funding to the company. So this could be, for example, a milestone for repayment.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go on to Ziv's question. He says all of these items seem to relate more to the full-scale proposal, and he didn't see any mention of the first phase, which is the executive summary. So I'll answer that quickly. Thank you. You're correct. The first phase of the submission is an executive summary. We have a template for it on our website under guidelines and forms. There was another question about it, and I posted a link specifically to that template. We recommend that you look at it carefully, that you engage with us. And in fact, my biggest tip of the day is that you can submit a draft version as long as you do it about a week or two before the submission deadline, and we will provide feedback on at least one draft version of your executive summary. So certainly you want to take us up on that. Next question.
I want to add,
yes.
I'd like to add to this few more words, and this relates to what we've tried to convey in this webinar. It's really important to be in touch with us even before the submission, even of the draft. So this is really important because we'll guide you on the important subject you should be aware of. And to be honest, I mean, if we'll find that, this project is, let's say, premature or has some issues which we think, could have some determinant impact on the chances of this project, I mean, we'll tell you that in advance, and we'll try to guide you how to actually, so to say, detouring these difficulties, if possible. But if we'll find out that and think that this is not an optimal proposal or project, I mean, we'll tell you bluntly, just to avoid any work which would be wasted. So
yes. Okay, so I want to get to the next one from Boaz. Boaz asked, you mentioned 50% of each partner's budget. Can you further explain? Does it mean that some of the funds provided will be paid to each company based on their internal budget? So yes, you are correct. This question refers to cost share. So I'll let Omer explain that one. It's a long answer, but at least
I'll do it in short.
Yes.
Suppose your joint budget, meaning the budget of the Israeli partner and the US partner, is, let's say, $2 million, and suppose each company's budget is $1 million. Okay, What does it mean? It means that we'll provide up to $1 million, and because your budgets are equal, then each one of the companies will get from us $500K. Okay, I hope this is short, and I think should be clear.
Yes, and you can engage with us further to find out what are the types of tasks that you can get the cost share for. So we can address that with you or any one of you if you're interested. So what are the types available? Nelia is asking. So as Omer said, we have different programs. We have the general legacy bird program that covers all industry sectors with the exception only of military specific applications, which we don't fund. But we also have the Homeland Security cycle, which we talked about. We have Bird Energy, which is funded by DOE and the Israeli Ministry of Energy and Innovation Authority. That call for proposals will come out typically in June, so look out for it. All of our we have a Bird Cyber, which that is now we're in the midst of that one, so we don't know when the next cycle of cyber will come out. But in general, most of our programs follow the same mechanism. Next question.
I'll take it. Yes. About the IP rights.
Yes.
So IP rights are really up to the partners to decide, how they're going to deal with this issue. And there are different types of projects where sometimes the partners decide to share IP if such IP is generated during the project. Sometimes it's an agreement that each side will keep their own IP. So we don't get into this issue. It's really up to the partners to decide.
Omer, maybe at the same time, you can talk about the stage of technology that we require for the grant.
Yeah. So listen. I mean, we do ask the partners what is the TRL. TRL is the technology readiness level of the project before it begins, and you need to have some working, let's say, at least MVP in most cases. And we expect that by the end of the project, assuming it's not a pharma project, we assume that by the end of it, your product or service will be ready for commercialization. So I would say that TRL level of, let's say, between 4 to 5 is something which is acceptable in most cases. So, I tried to address this issue, if you remember in the webinar, saying that it's important to provide some preliminary evidences that, the technology is actually working. I mean, you cannot come to and apply to bird if you have just an idea. You have to have something working in some way and show the evidences for that.
Okay, I'd like to take Adit's question regarding who receives the grant. Both of you received the grant. Each company is receiving it relative to the development work that they're doing. And it should be, if not 50-50, we require a minimum of 30-70 in terms of work share percentage. So the minimum that one of the two partners should be doing in a project is 30%, and then they're receiving the relative 30% match from Bird. Royalty, 5% royalty, this is a longer explanation, but Omer, can you maybe explain the royalty repayment mechanism in short?
I don't know if I can do it in short, but I'll say
30 seconds or less.
Yeah, we have only about 2 minutes until until 5 o'clock. So essentially, it's 5% of any sales generated from the results of this collaboration, and it is kept up to a cap of 150% of the grant received by the partners, assuming that the repayments is still ongoing beyond 5 years of the project completion, and the repayments didn't cover the whole grant that were given to the partners. I know I hope this is understood, but if not, I mean, we can actually elaborate on it, after the webinar. So listen, unfortunately, the time has ended. We will address all the questions after this webinar. I want to mention also that, the recording will be uploaded to, I believe, YouTube, but maybe you'll get also a link. Maha, if you on the line, I hope you'll be able to do that. And this is the opportunity again to thank you all. Special thank you to Oli, Guy, Maha, who is actually in the back office, and obviously Andrea, and thank you to all the participants. Take care. And remember, March the 1st is the deadline for the general program. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Good evening in Israel.